How can you have good boundaries when you're all relaxed and playful and you're being goofy?
I'm sorry, what? I'm goofy,
This is Reid Malcolm from readaboutsex.com.
This is the scared Cathy Vartuli from the intimacydojo.com.
Save me.
That was unplanned.
Yes. So, Reid, I can understand the question that when people they're being playful and goofy, they're not necessarily being as careful about boundaries.
Well, there's a couple of different versions of this. There are the people that are being playful who've never stated their boundaries and don't know what their boundaries are, so they don't know how to state them.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are the people who know what their boundaries are, know how to enforce them or speak up about them, or let people know what they are in advance, who are being playful. You want to be in the second category.
Yeah, I know when I was first learning boundaries, I was very stiff about them. I wasn't playful because I was so awkward with boundaries at that point.
And what we know about human nature now, because there have been some interesting studies in the last couple of years, not just in the last couple of decades too, about human behavior is when we have good boundaries, people feel safer and will actually be more playful. So a lot of people think that like, oh yeah, I have to, to be playful, to be spontaneous means I have no boundaries, which actually leaves most people feeling less safe. And one of the studies was, I think it was a study done in England with playgrounds, is that children who were on a playground for recess that had no fences were basically clumped together as one unit and played, one or two different games as a cluster. And then on playgrounds where the fences were clearly defined, the children went everywhere and actually played a more diverse variety of games. The social interaction was much more diverse and better, more thriving in a sense. And so when you're good at communicating your boundaries, you can actually be playful inside that. So, with these videos, like I can be silly and you're laughing, but you're also a little scared.
Yes.
But like we're being playful, whereas if we didn't know each other and had no relatedness and we didn't know anything about each other, then I just turn into a crazy person.
Yeah, then I'd be like out the door.
Yeah, and so
which is sad because I live here.
The idea, yes, it is pretty sad. But I would live here fabulously in comfort. So the idea is to understand that you can be even more playful when you have boundaries. It's not the other way around. That's a misnomer. You can make more people feel safe so that they will play back with you. Because the other thing is you have one person being playful, but the other person doesn't know what to do or what the rules are, and so they don't really engage back.
So how would you role model that? So if you were just meeting me and you wanted to be playful, but you're not sure what my boundaries are, and I don't know what your boundaries are, how would you approach that?
Well, I'd be like, hi, my name's Reid, and I'm in a playful mood. Do you want to be playful? Is it okay if I can be playful with you? And then you would say what?
What does that mean?
I don't know. Like, what are your needs or boundaries? Like, you can be touchy-feely with me. Don't tickle me because I don't like that.
Okay.
And you can totally tease me.
Oh, okay. I like to tease people.
Okay. Are you teasing me now?
Sort of.
Wow. You're really bad at this.
Yes.
Okay. Like, so now we're playing. We're being playful. But basically what I'm doing is I'm setting the tone and then inviting you, which is a version of how I like to teach people how to flirt, right? Like I'm getting consent and setting the tone and the ground rules and then inviting you to play back.
Yeah.
Inviting you to flirt back if we were flirting. And that kind of playfulness, I think, is better when you know what your boundaries are and what your needs are. So like if let's say that I didn't want to be touchy-feely and you started being touchy-feely with me because you're just touchy and feely, then if I knew my boundaries and I can find my words, I'm like, oh, I like how we're playing, but I'm weird about touch, so can we do this without touch? Now you might want to take your ball and go home because you're like, man, I don't like to play people who don't like touch.
Yes.
But at the same time, me telling you what I need often makes people feel safe.
Yes.
So if I can do it in a nice way, like if I'm not so freaked out or surprised, which is the secret to boundaries, as a good friend of mine, Betty Martin, talks about, you need to set your boundaries a little further away than right up close.
Yeah. Because that tends to make people stiff. If you're really close to getting punched in the nose, you're going to be.
Yeah.
Whereas you can say, no, please stay out there. You have more room to relax.
So if I'm like, oh, you can be playful, touchy with me, but don't be roughhousey with me, because then I don't like that. Or like I said, don't tickle me, right? So then me telling you that and making those adjustments, and if I can do that in a nice, kind way, because my boundaries are far enough out that I'm not snapping at you, then I'm giving you information that I actually know what I need and will tell you, which makes so many people feel safer because you're showing them that they don't have to read your mind, which is another reason why people don't like to be playful, is they're like, we don't know where this is going or what's next.
Yeah.
So when you speak up by stating what your boundaries are, setting the tone, I think it creates a much better realm, playground for people to play all the way up to the fence.
Mm-hmm. And if you're new at this, if you're new at boundaries, it's okay. It does get easier, and people are awkward in the beginning. And we don't always notice right away that someone crossed our boundaries. We may need to either tell them later or practice with a friend, say, that was really funny, but I realized later that didn't feel comfortable, so can we back that off a little bit?
Yeah, and then what I would recommend is not even can we back that off, could we reenact it right now? So I feel like I can check in and make sure that's really what I needed. Because that is like ninja move. You're reenacting it. One, you're training your friends. But two, you've used your words and you got to re-experience it rather than just next time, which kind of puts it in the ether. So you get to anchor the experience and kind of write over it in a new way, kind of like a hard drive. So that's the black belt move.
Nice. I like that move a lot. It does get easier. It's worth the practice. I know when, Reid, you were one of the people that taught me some of these things. I was like, you want me to do what?
Blah! Like that. Be crazy. Playful. Leave your comments.
We're going to give him some nice drugs now, some coffees and Baileys.
More coffee.